Welcome to another episode of Zoom at Noon at the Mike Morse Law Firm. I am going to make you a Caesar salad today in under 10 minutes. In fact, it usually takes a lot shorter than 10 minutes, but I'm going to explain a few things and drag this out to 10 minutes. I learned that a dude named Caesar Cardini came up with this recipe in the 20s during Prohibition. During Prohibition, the restaurants and bars were closed and they had a hard time getting fresh produce and food, so they had to make dishes by just throwing things together. When I volunteered to make this dish on Zoom at Noon, I didn't know that background. It was kind of interesting thinking about restaurants and bars being closed. I mean, who could have ever imagined? It's almost 100 years. It's actually almost exactly 100 years later, because that was in the 1920s. Now we're in 2020. During Prohibition, Caesar Cardini came up with this recipe. I used to be a waiter. For those of you who don't know, I've worked at over 25 different restaurants. And when I was 17 years old, I worked at a restaurant on Orchard Lake Road called Treats. And it was a high-end restaurant. I had to wear a tuxedo to work. I had to carve and open up Dover sole and fillet Dover sole. I had 5 tables. I had to open up lots of fancy wine bottles. And you were able to order a fresh Caesar salad made tableside. So Caesar Cardini came up with the Caesar salad about 100 years ago. He said that it was a salad out of necessity. He would look in the fridge and just throw things in together and see what tasted good. When I used to make it, we used to not measure. We used to do a tableside. So at the restaurant where I worked, they used to measure out ramekins with the right amount of ingredients. But halfway through the night, the ramekins were all gone. So we literally had to go tableside with our wood bowls and some things and just do this. And we never measured it. And everybody raved about it. So that's kind of how I make my Caesar salad. I haven't made it in a while, but that's how I'm going to teach you. There are some guidelines of things that you could put into the Caesar salad. To start with a Caesar salad, the key ingredient is garlic, in my opinion. But Caesar Cardini did not have anchovies in his first one. In the 40s, another restaurateur in New York started putting anchovies in. So if you have anchovies and you're making this along with me, what you do is you take your wooden bowl, you take 1 or 2 anchovies and you put it in your bowl and you smush it into the wooden bowl. The wood is amorphous and it'll absorb some of the anchovies and it'll come out later when you put the ingredients in. So do that now if you have anchovies. Worcestershire sauce, say that 10 times fast, has some anchovy in it, so they say. Give some of the anchovy flavor. So I'm not using anchovies in this today, but you can use anchovies in yours. One of the first ingredients that you're supposed to put in the bowl, now some of the recipes have you make it in a separate bowl. I don't do that. I like to have less weights. And at the restaurant, we didn't do that. We put it right into the bowl. You're supposed to use a wood bowl. It should be an old haggard bowl. This is not as haggard as I'd like. And you take some really good extra virgin olive oil, and the recipes say 1/3 of a cup. So you could just put a little bit of olive oil in there. You can come closer. Just throw some olive oil in. It's really just a couple teaspoons of, the recipes say, of Worcestershire sauce. I just do a little bit of that. The other ingredient is a couple teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I'm not a big measurer on these things, so you just throw a little Dijon mustard in. Some recipes call for egg, some don't. The way we used to make it at the restaurant was egg yolk. Caesar Cardini had egg yolk in his too. So I'm putting 1 egg yolk in there. Don't tell my cardiologist because that's not vegan. You whisk this up. If you want this to emulsify, blend together with all the ingredients. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil in there.
Lemon.
One of my favorite things, one thing I like about this recipe is, again, you don't have to measure exactly. It calls for only a teaspoon or 2 of lemon. I love lemon. So I'm putting about 1/3 of a lemon in. No idea how much that is, and I'm going to keep mixing. Now, something else that I love, as I mentioned earlier, is garlic, fresh garlic. When I'm in a hurry, I use the jarred garlic, okay? It's not as good as fresh garlic. The reason I don't love using and cooking with fresh garlic all the time is because it's a pain in the ass to peel. But I learned a little trick, so I'm going to teach it to you real quick. Smash the garlic. Okay, so it's all smushed in. You could just easily take the paper off, and you take the cloves. You're supposed to put it in 2 metal bowls. I don't use metal bowls. I use glass bowls. So what I found that was what I use for metal is I have a shaker, Casamigo shaker, because once you buy 100 bottles, they give you one of these. Just kidding. All right. So then you shake it in between your two metal bowls vigorously for about 20 seconds. Then pour them out. And as you'll see, the bulbs come out nice and clean, okay? And they fall off the paper, okay? So then, after I do that, I always sharpen my knife before I use it because I like a sharp knife because makes your job a lot easier. You cut the side ends off the garlic. You slice it very thin. Okay, and then you could fan it out if you want. Mince it. Takes, 30 seconds to mince away. And you put it in your little side bowl. So this is about 2 cloves. I'm actually going to do a third because we love garlic around here. You're going to have to do it to taste. There's not very many restaurants who still make Caesar salads tableside. The one that we go to in Madison Heights is called Boodles, and they do a really good job. But their Caesar salad is got so much garlic in it, it's fabulous, but it's a lot. So the recipes typically call for 1 to 2 cloves. I'm putting 3 in, as you'll see. All right, so that's about 3 cloves. Putting it in the wood bowl. Now, some of the recipes call for red wine vinegar. The restaurant I worked at didn't use red wine vinegar, so I'm not going to use red wine vinegar. His recipe was hearts of palm, but if you have spinach or any other type of lettuce, you can use that too. This is romaine lettuce. Don't use hearts of palm. Actually, you could probably put hearts of palm in your Caesar salad. It would be delicious. And what we used to do at the restaurant, we used to rip it. You could rip it table side, but because I got a nice sharp knife here, I'm doing it this way. They say this recipe is about 2 salad amounts. What you do is now that you have that in your bowl, you put the salad dressing in, you put the salad in, you mix it that way, okay? And you just turn it and turn it. If you have too much dressing, you could add some more lettuce. So at the restaurant, we were literally making this tableside, and our carts had all of the ingredients. So if you wanted to put a little bit of extra, you could do that. All right, so now that's dressed. Then a very crucial ingredient. All right, so I'm just going to put a bunch of cheese on. The cheese breaks up very easily. This is just chopped up bread, tossed it with garlic, olive oil, sprinkled some Parmesan cheese on. These are just delicious just on their own. Good pepper, and we'd have the old-fashioned brown pepper mills. Pepper on it. You can put a dash of salt on it. And that's really it. Sometimes we would plate it and then put the pepper separately. You could also put a little extra. Oh, ma'am, would you like a little extra Parmesan? You could put a little extra Parmesan. You put a couple extra croutons. You could do a little extra pepper. If somebody likes a little bit more pepper. I think I mentioned in my ingredients that I sent out earlier that you can put a little Tabasco sauce in. I'm clearly not choosing to do that, but you can. That's basically it. Have a great Monday, and please volunteer to do some more of these noon at Zooms. It was really fun and really easy, and I hope you enjoyed it. And email me if you liked your Caesar or have any tips on how to make it better for next time.